up, you guys? Long time no see, brothers. So this is we're gonna call this little show Questions for Rick. How's that sound? That sound pretty good? All right, cool. So I just wanted to say thanks for the great questions, you guys. I really appreciate it. Miss you guys terribly. So here we go. First question is from James, La Cruces, New Mexico. What's up, New Mexico? Question is when you joined Exodus, did you have any face-melting riffs that you wrote for Bonded by Blood that never were put on the album? Okay, so when I joined Exodus, I'd say probably 8/10 of the album was already written. So me and Gary wrote A Lesson of Violence, and we wrote Deliver Us to Evil, and we fixed and put together a couple songs, and that was pretty much it, but it was mostly written. But I was lucky enough to be able to write A Lesson of Violence, and like I said, Deliver Us to Evil. So, question number 2 is from Blair Martin from Vancouver. What's up, Vancouver? Hey, Blair. What was your favorite song to play live? Well, let me see. That's a crazy hard question, because they're all so much fun to play live. Some harder than others, but I'm gonna have to say like in the early 90s, maybe early 90s, 93, 94, we put Verbal Razors in the set, and me and Gary worked out this live version that was so killer. So in the middle of the song, everybody would stop at the bass and drums, and it would be like, and then me and Gary would talk hella shit, you know. Zet would start, he would introduce me and Gary, and then we'd go into this huge, like, big, I call it arena rock thing that we were doing with Verbal Razors. So he'd count, like, he'd introduce me and then Gary, and then we'd do some little licks, and we'd look at each other and go, you ain't shit, get the hell out of here, what are you doing? And then Zet would count to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'd go into the rhythm, and Gary would do this crazy solo, and then like for 8 bars, and then we'd stop and just be just like bass and drums again, and I'd be like, dude, is that all you got? That was weak. I know you got better than that, Gary. And then we'd start talking shit back and forth and shit, and this is all live. It was killer, dude. It was so much fun. And then I'd go and I'd do my little thing, 8 bars, and then we'd stop again and we'd talk more shit, and it turned out to be like this big 80s, like, I don't know who, freaking Iron Maiden guitar duel-off fucking craziness, and it turned out really good, and it was so much fun to play. So that my answer is that Verbal Razors, the live version of Verbal Razors. Not too many people got to hear that because we didn't do it too much because it wasn't that easy. But anyway, that was good. Verbal Razors. Jesse Avila, Fresno, California. If you had your choice of your own signature guitar, which maker would you choose? So, out of all the guitars that me and Gary played, I'd have to say, if I wanted my own signature, I'd have to ask Jackson to do it, because they're American guitars are just amazing, bro. I love them to death. It sounds just amazing. It'd have to be like a sick Rick version of the Randy's V, but a little different. You know what I mean? So yeah, it would have to be Jackson. Many people asked, what are your favorite riffs on other Exodus records and favorite guitar solos you did? Holy shit. Many people asked, what are your favorite riffs on other Exodus records and favorite guitar solos you did? Man, there's so many, but I'd have to say, like, guitar solos on Impact is Imminent, one of my favorites. Song Changing in the Guard, one of my favorites. Me, Myself, and I, one of my favorites. Man, I could go on and on and on. One of the solos I really, really like that maybe a lot of people Count Your Blessings on tempo was one of my favorite solos. I just have so many. They're all different. They're all good, I think. Well, they're not all good. There's a couple I'd love to take back, but I'm not going to mention those. Anyway, so yeah, just to name a couple, dude. There's a lot. So thanks for the question, Bandit. So next question is from Ignacio Villagra from Chile. So he asks, what do you think Exodus lost when you left the band in 2005? What do I think Exodus lost when I left the band in 2005? Well, that's a tough one. My answer to that, right off the cuff, is going to be they lost a dude with a lot of passion for heavy metal. That's what I'm going to say to that one. I loved what I did, but I had to do some things with my head. I had to get my head right, bro. And everything's great now. So thanks for that question. Kirby Douglas from New Zealand and Francisco Centeno from Pueblo, Mexico asked, would be awesome to hear you talk more about your old rigs you used back in the early era. Pickups, amps, guitars, and the white V is badass. Love to hear about the setup you had with that rig on stage, 80s era. Which brand were they? And do you still own them? Okay, that's a crazy question. Let's see. Hear about the old rigs. Well, I'll tell you about the rigs. I'll tell you about the rigs that we started after Bonded by Blood, probably during Pleasures, right before Fabulous. Me and Gary had these racks built out of 100% birch. It was birch ply. It was like 13 ply birch plywood. It's insanely heavy. It's just so crazy. And we had these huge racks made, bud, and they were like literally 8 feet long by, I want to say 4 feet high with the wheels on them, and they must have weighed. We had, okay, one side of the rack had 3. We took our Marshall heads out of the chassis, right, and we had them mounted in these. Drawers, custom made in these drawers, right? So we took the Marshall heads out of the chassis, the regular chassis, and bolted them onto these drawers that we had 3 high, boom, like this. JCM 800s I had with modified by a dude named Ralph. I want to say Ralph Stedman. Who put in an effects loop with an extra preamp tube and made it foot switchable, which was savage for that head. They didn't have it back then. So we had 3 heads stacked on one side of the cab, and all our rack gear, the power supply, the power conditioner, the tuner, the wireless, and all our stuff on this side. And all the cords when it came in through the back, of course, and the front and the back came off, but they were. And our poor crew had to tote these things up these stairs, bro, in these little clubs back then. I felt so sorry for them. And it was me and Gary would just, every time we talk about it now, we just laugh. What a bunch of idiots. It's the craziest thing. So let me talk about the rig for one. Okay, so that was the rack. All my pickups before EMGs were all Seymour Duncan's SH5s customs. SH5 customs. That white guitar V was something that I built. It was a Warmoth body with a Warmoth solid rosewood neck, ebony fretboard, 6200 frets. Floyd Rose, like I said, SH5 custom Seymour Duncans, and that's it on that guitar. Basically all my other guitars pre like endorsement era were all the same, all custom, all built by me. And then I think the first like little endorsement thing we did was with Ibanez, and I played the 540 Sabre. Gary played that weird double cutaway with the cutaway and the black. I forget what the name of that thing was. It was a long time ago, though. No, and actually I don't own any of that gear except for some of the guitars back then. Which is okay. I got plenty of stuff now. Thanks for the question, you guys. Next one, Mike Fletcher from who knows where. If money was no object, which guitar would you like to own? If money, I would like a 1953 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top number 00001. How about that? That's the guitar I want. And if it's not that one, then it's a 57 Strat 00001. That's what I want, for sure. Okay, so next question up. This is from a brother of mine from Sacramento, Gilberto Vargas. What's up, Gilbert? And Ken Riley from Ireland and Rob Seeley from Denver asked, what is your most memorable moment with Paul Poser Killer Bailoff? Well, let me just get this clear. Every moment with Paul Bailoff was memorable. That's for sure. Either it was a good memory or it was an extremely bad memory. But that's just Paul Bailoff. That's exactly what Paul was. Either you loved him or you hated him. That's it. Period. There was no in between. And he was like one of my dearest friends ever in the whole world. So, most memorable moments with Paul Bailoff. Okay, so let me tell you. I got a, I don't know. It was memorable for me. You might think it's kind of a crazy asshole move, but Paul was a practical joker. So we go to Europe the very first time we're ever on tour. And we're in Europe on the bus. The Venom, Slayer, Exodus tour. Somewhere, I don't know where. And we're all on the bus doing whatever we're doing. And Paul was a practical joker. And this may seem like really crazy, but this is true. I'm sitting there doing my own business, and Paul comes running up the aisle from the back of the bus, and he comes over and he looks at me and he goes, BAM! And he stuck a big old ball of duct tape in my hair, dude. In my hair. And out of the blue, I didn't say nothing to him, nothing. It was just, that's just Paul Bailoff. He was crazy. He did some crazy shit, but that's one of the that's a moment I'll never forget about Paul Bailoff. Anyway, here we go. So, next question is from Corey Bing from Sheffield Lake, Ohio. What is your favorite moment with Exodus, and have you ever fallen off the stage while thrashing so hard? All right, A and B questions. So my favorite moment with Exodus would honestly be, man, it's really hard to pinpoint a favorite moment with Exodus because they were all so good. But one of my most memorable and favorite, one of the most things I'll never forget is my whole life, is the very first festival we played at Dynamo Open Air in Holland. I think it was like early 90s, maybe even before that. It was the first time we ever went to Europe, and it was Eindhoven Open Air Festival, and it was like 90,000 people though, and we had never played a festival before, and we're used to playing Ruthies in little tiny clubs. The night before, we played the Dynamo Club in Holland, which was like 300 people, right? And we had heard about Dynamo Open Air Festival and all this other stuff, but when we all went out on stage in front of 90,000 people the very first time, that has to be one of my most awesome memories of Exodus for sure, bar none. It was like, man, all this hard work, and here we are. We were so lucky with it. It's just like what we had worked for so long, and then we're here in front of 90,000 people, and we're just like, wow, are you kidding? This is really happening, bro. It's unbelievable. And thanks you guys for that, for sure. Have you ever fallen off a stage while thrashing so hard? Hell yeah, I have. Many, many times. But one that comes to mind is we're in England at, I believe it was Sheffield. I'm not sure. But back then, man, when we were really crazy, I used to climb up on the side fills, man, the monitors, the side fills that would come this way on the side of the stage to me and jump off. And I did it all the time. It was no big deal. So right in the middle of the song, I get up on this thing and I'm right gonna jump off, dude. And I jump off this freaking monitor. And it was about probably as tall as me, like 5.5 feet, maybe almost 6 feet tall. So I jump off and I'm like, yeah! And dude, I hit the stage, bro, and I kept going. I went right through the freaking stage. And I shit you not, ask anybody in the band, this is true, straight up true. My feet hit the floor and I kept going through the stage, bro. And went wham, and then I stopped. And all I remember is my little head sticking out of the stage, and I'm looking around like this, and all I can see is people's feet. And my guitar is feeding back. And I can't reach the volume knob because I'm all stuck in this fucking stage. And I was like, so I don't even remember if we stopped. I don't even think the band stopped, right? Matter of fact, it was one of our main rules is like, dude, if something like that happens, don't ever stop playing the song. You break a string, don't ever stop playing the song. You break your foot, don't ever stop breaking the song. Someone comes up and breaks your arm, don't stop playing the song. So they didn't stop playing the song, and both Gary's tech and my tech, I forget who they were, this was 28 years ago, grabbed me by my arms and lifted me up, and just kept playing. But that was insane. That was the most insane feeling. Just expecting to land on a stage and then just keep going, it was insane. So yeah, I've fallen a whole bunch of times on stage. Not proudly, but it happened. Okay, so this next question is from a friend of mine from the UK. It's Sam Carey from Shrewsbury. What's up, Sam? Glad you're doing good. So glad about the job. So glad about everything that's going good for you. Metal. Okay, if you could play live on stage with any one of your guitar heroes, who would it be? Anybody that knows me knows that answer. Eddie Van Halen. Rest in peace, my brother. We lost a legend a couple weeks ago, and it's just heartbreaking. I wasn't ready for that news. After 2020, how horrible this year has been with everything else, and then I got a text from, I don't know who it was, a friend of mine goes, dude, Eddie died. I'm like, well, I didn't even know Eddie was that sick, you know what I mean, really. Everybody I know, literally, 9 out of 10 guitar players that I grew up with will tell you straight up, the reason I play guitar is because of Eddie Van Halen. That is me. The reason I play guitar, I swear to God, is because of Eddie Van Halen. If I never would have heard Eruption in 78 or whatever year it was, maybe I never would have played guitar. Maybe I never would have, you know what I mean? And maybe, who knows what would have happened. So, for sure, Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace, my brother. You'll never be forgotten. Okay, this next question is from Tony from Croatia. And he asks, if you had the power, which 3 deceased guitarists would you resurrect? Didn't you know I do have the power? Okay, Eddie Van Halen for sure. Dimebag Darrell, number 2, and Prince. No question about it. Those are my 3. Eddie Van Halen, Dimebag Darrell, and Prince. And man, we would be rocking, bro. Okay, next question is many people asked about your guitar influences, man. So I could sit here and talk to you, talk about guitar influences for years and years and years. So a little bit about my background. I'm from the ghetto, Oakland, California, and Berkeley, California. So I grew up on. Well, let me go even before that. My parents, when I was growing up, like when I could remember listening to music, my mom and dad listened to Randy Newman, Creedence, the Beatles, Dolly Parton. Excuse me. My dad was really into country, so he was into Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. But the number one that really hits home and that I remember with my heart and soul is Elton John. Elton John, from when I can remember starting to listen to music and really being like listening, with your heart, to music, is from my parents. Before that, before I even started playing guitar, was Elton John. And then when we moved to Oakland, from Montclair, California, being from, in the hood, I literally lived in the hood for many, many, many years. I grew up there. So I started listening to a lot of, this is way before rap, way before hip hop even, dude. It was all about rhythm and blues and funk. It was the funk, bro. We listened to the funk. Parliament, the Bar-Kays, Marvin Gaye. Man, I could go on and on and on. And then there was, then when I got, and skate punk. We listened to a lot of skate, like this, the boneless ones, brother. But this is before that. So guitar influences, anywhere from like Roy Buchanan, Glenn Campbell is an amazing guitar player, bro. Ry Cooder, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen, Richie Blackmore, George Lynch, Tony Iommi, of course, Downing and Tipton. All the people that we grew up with in my era and your era, mostly, all those guys, man. Everybody has an influence on me. Even people that I didn't really listen to a lot have influenced me because I listen to music, man. When I listen to a song, I don't listen to lyrics. My wife is always, how come you never listen to the words in the song? I'm like, because I was too busy listening to the snare drum and the kick drum and the bass tone and the guitars and the harmonies and the solos, dude. I really just, I listen to guitars, man. So the influences are infinite. I mean, even horn players and sax players and keyboard players and violin players, and they all have an influence on me in my guitar playing. All of them. That's just the way it is. Okay, this is a good question, and I'm glad I can answer this one. This is from Damien Forrest from Portugal, and he asked, what advice could you give to a young metal band? And you know what, I love to answer this question, because it's really important for young metal bands to be able to drop their egos, bro, and get along with each other. I can't stress this enough, how important it is for the band members to get along, man, and respect each other. For the years that I was in Exodus, I was in Exodus for like 28 years or something like that, bro. 28 years. And I shit you not, I swear to God, me and Gary Holt never argued once. Never once about music or anything to do with the band. We respected each other on a level that was just like, that was just it. We loved each other so much, man. That's all. And that's my main advice to you guys too, is to get in a band. Surround yourself with people that you can get along with, dude. Okay, look, if you're in a band and you love all your members and you're looking for a guitar player, okay, this is a great example. If you're looking for a guitar player, my personal opinion is, if you had two guitars, one was shredding like Yngwie, one was really, really good, but this dude was an asshole, hard to work with, wasn't inspired, wasn't motivated, and this dude wasn't half as good as this guy, but he was willing to work stupid hard, was a great dude, and you got along with him 100%, dude, this is your winner right here. This dude, he's replaceable. This guy is a brother. He's not replaceable. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's always going to be better guitar players. There's always going to be better drummers. There's always going to be better singers. And it's not about that, bro. It's about the chemistry in the band. I'm telling you. If you guys can just get along, that's the main battle. I mean, it's like being married to 5 different guys, man. It's crazy. But it's doable. It is doable. And Exodus is proof. You know what I'm saying? Been together for a long, long time, bro. And that's my advice to young bands. Next question is from Alex Bardemus from Barcelona, Catalonia. What guitar would you recommend me to start playing guitar? Well, it depends. Me, myself, I like these because the way I sit when I play is the V sits right here in between my leg, you know what I mean? And I'm like this, and it's perfect for me. I think a good guitar to start with would be a Fender Strat. Either that, I don't even. The way the Les Paul sit kind of strange, but a Strat is just so natural. The way it contours, the whole thing with the contour here, the arm fits there, and it's so, and the neck is perfect for a beginner. You know what I mean? My personal preference is a maple neck, and a Fender Strat, bro. And if you're gonna play metal, make sure it's got a double coil or a stacked single coil in the bridge position, so you don't have to fight getting that tone that you want for thrash or metal at all. So Fender Strat is the one for me, anyway. Next question is from Chuck from Black Forest, Germany. He asked, do you remember your first concert with Exodus? If so, when and where was it? And how was it for you? Alright, I'll never forget my first show with Exodus, ever. I'll never forget it. It was at, Wolfgang's on Columbus Street in San Francisco. We were supporting Loudness from Japan. And back then, Loudness was huge. Akira was like, he was at the pinnacle of his trip. You know, he was on fire. Such a great player, such great dudes. Loudness. So I'd never played in front of anybody in my life. First gig with Exodus, Wolfgang's on Columbus in San Francisco, sold out. Probably about, I don't know, anywhere from 600 to 800 people. And I was so nervous, bro. I was like, most of the night. And back then we wore spandex, and I had never wore a pair of spandex before, and I was like, man, I'm gonna put these fucking pants on, dude, really? Metal. Alright, so I did. Anyway, I mean, that's just what everybody wore back then. That's what we wore. So, first concert, and most of it was spent literally with my back, like, not my back to the audience, but like sideways, you know? I wasn't like in their face, like, you know, I learned to do. But anyway, I was like super nervous. I hadn't been in the band that long, so the material wasn't like second nature yet, which is super important if you're gonna do live music, man. Practice that music until you can do it with your eyes closed, bro. Do yourself a favor. Because you don't want to be thinking about what you're doing up there. It's just all about, you know, you just want to practice so much and so hard that you don't even have to think about what you're doing, man. So anyway, that was nerve-wracking as hell, but it was a blessing to be there And again, I was just so lucky. I mean, so lucky to be in the band. Anyway, so I have some bonus questions here. I'll answer it. It's not too many. But this is cool. I appreciate you guys asking these questions, man. I appreciate you guys keeping me in the loop. Let me see if I. Okay, so this is a bonus question. This is from Dorcas Wyringa. Hope I'm pronounced that right. I was wondering if you had some Dutch in you somewhere. I don't think so. The Hunolt family, the Hunolt name is from a little tiny piece of land in between France and Germany. It's called Alsace-Lorraine. They're called Alsatians, is what we're called. And the French and the Germans have been fighting for this territory for eons. I don't even know what it's called now. I think it's probably part of Germany now. But anyway, I don't have any Dutch in me, I don't think. Next question is Allie Rose from Seattle, Washington. Says, what's your favorite fruit? Dude, my favorite fruit is like pineapple. I like pineapple. I like to put it in smoothies. I like it with raspberries and blackberries and all them shit. Man, I love all that shit. So this is next question is from Dori Hiwat Rambal from India. His question is, what is your message for everyone with regards to life? Oh man, I could go on and on about this. I'm sure you don't want to hear my life perspective, but to make it in a nutshell, bro, man, just be as good as you possibly can be, bro. Just go out of your way to be nice to people. You know what I'm saying? I hate the cliche, but do unto others as you would want do unto to you. You know? It's all about love, man. That's what it's all about. So, just be nice to everybody. Be as good as you possibly can be, that's all. Next bonus question is from Michael Galowski from Poland. He goes, is that true that you broke a rib bone when you were touring in Europe a few years ago? Yep, it's true. Michael, matter of fact, that's funny. It was one of the festivals in Europe. I forget exactly what festival it was, but I jumped up on the wedge in front of me, and it was one of those angled wedges like this. So I got on top of it, and it went like a woo, like that. And the minute I hit it, man, I flipped over like this, and I landed right on my rib, on that thing right here, and broke my rib. Partied that night, didn't even trip on it. Wasn't even sore at all. Had a couple drinks, you know, partied with the fellas. Got on the bus, went to sleep, and woke up. And I shit you not, I could not even breathe. And I woke up in Warsaw, Poland, dude. And I was like, Tom, dude, get me to the hospital, please. I literally could not walk. So they carried me to the taxi, and I went to the hospital in Warsaw. And it cost me I had x-rays, spent all day there, x-rays, they gave me painkillers, medicine, all day in the hospital. It cost me $35. $35! In the US it would have cost $500. Bullshit. Anyway, they were great bunch of girls in the hospital in Poland. Anyway, next question. Kevin Brown from, I don't know who. If Exodus could travel back to the year 72 to create an album for that year, how would the creative process differ, if any? Okay, so in the beginning, Bonded by Blood, Pleasures. I think Pleasures was the very beginning of the digital era. I'm pretty sure. So we had the luck. We were lucky enough to actually be in a professional recording situation on analog protocol. Okay, so that's where you really learn the fundamentals of recording: mic placement, isolation, EQs, compression. you learn that in an analog situation because there is no other way. You have to learn those things. In the digital realm too, you have to learn it, but you really have to learn it when you're going to tape. So 72, no, I mean the process. The only thing different in the creative process would be me picking up Gary's not driving ass in a 72 Chevelle Super Sport 454, right? On our way to practice, whoop, whoop, or the recording studio, high siding, on our way to create heavy. Otherwise, I don't think it would differ at all. The writing process would be the same. Next question. Julie from, I don't know where again. She wants me to tell the story about when the bus burned on tour a while back. No, that was way longer than a while back, hon. I believe it was bumfuck Idaho, Italy. On our way to Rome, if I'm not mistaken. It was like freaking 30 years ago. Again, I think it was on the Venom tour. We're cruising down the highway, pitch black, nighttime, and the whole bus fills with smoke, man. And the whole engine compartment starts flames burning. So we all have to get off the bus and watch our bus burn. Literally, dude. And we had to sit there for hours, man. I remember it was so heinous. Until I believe a van came and picked us up and took us to the hotel where a new bus met us at the gig in Rome. Yeah, that was crazy. It's funny that you mentioned it. Let's see. I think this is the last question. Yeah, the last question. Brian Dubessa from Cleveland. If you ever unsuccessfully stage dived while Venom was playing during the 7 Dates of Hell tour. Unsuccessfully stage dive. No, I don't know. I don't think there's such thing as an unsuccessful stage dive unless you land on a concrete floor from 20 feet above and land on your head. That's an unsuccessful stage dive. And I've seen that happen way too many times, bro. But me personally, no. I used to stage dive, and I probably did a couple heinous stage dives during Venom back then. But we weren't allowed on stage during Venom because they had pyro. And I literally got my ass blown off one day and got in trouble because I was at the wrong time. I was Greenhorn. I was at our first tour. I didn't know what the fuck we were doing. I was probably so drunk I didn't even care. But anyway, yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for being on that stage in the wrong place because they got pyro all over the place, and you don't want to be in the wrong place on the stage with a band that has pyro. That's for sure. Anyway, so you guys, that's the end of the questions for now. I'm sure I'll be doing some more. Please write them in to whatever email that you wrote this to. Again, I hope to see all of you guys. Hopefully I'll be maybe playing some shows in 2021 and 2022 with Exodus for the new album. I'm not sure yet. I've been told to be ready, so that means maybe so. And if so, I can't wait. And if not, thanks for the 30 plus years of Exodus, man. Thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. And thanks for the great questions. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Over and out. Metal.